Okay, you ready, Shots? You want to say hi? Come in. Oh, no, 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 don't click the buttons. Good girl. You good girl. Here, Wookie. Okay. What you doing, Beast? You want to say hi? Say hi, Beastie. Say hi. Are you tired? Rough day. I'm just waiting a second. Hello, if there's anybody here. Just waiting to see if anybody does pop in. I had done a live earlier. I took it down because there was some PORN stuff that came in, and I didn't have my glasses on, so I didn't see it, and I just took it down. This is Shotzi. Say hi, Shotzi. Can you say boof? Are you a good girl? Say boof. Okay. This over here, well, you can't see him. But anyway, well, hello. We got the Wookie dog, too. All right, so I'm redoing this. I told you why, but when I was cleaning and stuff, I was thinking, all right, let me write down all the questions that I have from the beginning of this case. Strange things, just strange, odd occurrences, just things you don't see with a missing case. So if anybody sees this from the true crime community, that's not generally what my YouTube channel is about. Um, but I followed true crime since I was young with my grandmother, way back in the day when like John Walsh was a young guy, like he was a lot younger, and I used to watch Unsolved Mysteries, and so it's always interested me. Now I want to say this straight up. Um, if you're from like the true crime watching this, my belief system might not align with yours. I mean, I believe there's stuff that goes around this world and on in this world. Um, I think there's narratives that are pushed. I think that we're meant to be turned against one another. I'm open to anybody's opinion. You should be allowed to have your opinion. My husband's a combat marine. He fought for our rights, a right to have your opinion. We don't have to be mean. We don't have to be doxing or doing things to people because somebody else has a different opinion than you. This case, I have gone all over the board. I'm like, this is like, I don't know if this is a real case. Like, what is happening with this case? Because as soon as I see the weird things, I start thinking, yeah, there's something. Is this even real? But then you start to see things that take you the other direction. Yes, it's real and what happened. So there's crazy things that have gone on in this case. Um, and yet another one this morning, waking up to seeing that her laptop was found. I just can't. I can't. I don't understand it. So I wrote down a bunch of questions, and maybe you have the same questions, and maybe you have answers to them if you're listening. Um, one of the first things that struck me odd was this young lady had apparently been missing for how maybe a week, maybe less, and they held this I don't know, music festival is what it seemed like, and it was so odd. This girl's still missing. Why are we having a festival? I mean, I heard things that from this festival that the music will draw her in. Now, so this young lady was apparently extremely talented um, when it came to music. She could play all different instruments. She could sing. So you just can look her up and you'll find it. I'm not going to play other videos on here. This is just my own commentary. And maybe to see, like, maybe there's people out there that think along the lines that maybe I'm thinking. I don't know. So this festival was so weird. Why aren't and Sammy was there, that's the best friend. Sammy was there. And they're not boots on the ground. And Sammy, who's been a self-professed, I was the last person to see her and talk to her. Yet we're doing a music festival. It was weird because let me tell you, I have 6 children, and if that was any of my children, I would have lost my shit. I would have been like, "Why are we? Why? Let's go find my child. I'll do anything. Let's find my child. I don't want to sit here and listen to music." But to each their own. I mean, there are different, I don't know, ways of dealing with things, I suppose. That was one of the first things. And along with this was Sammy's the best. Well, she said she was one of Kylie's best friends. We now know that UFC Frog. I'm sorry, hold on. I'm just reading your comment. Do I have a what? Do you have a StreamYard to join? Yeah, if as long as you, I'll put it in the comments. As long as you show me your face, you don't have to be on camera. Just show me your face. Before I did a live early, I had to shut it down. I had to literally take it down because it was like a porn thing that came in. YouTube will shut you down for saying the littlest thing, but they can't get rid of the pornography problem. But yeah, I'll put it in the thing. Just quick, show me your face, and you can shut it out. So I'm putting it in the. It's coming right now. All right, so there's a link in the chat. And if you want to join, just quick show, in the backstage. You don't have to do it on the live itself. But anyway, I was saying this girl, Sammy, saying she was best friends with her. She was the last one seen with her. You find out that she's not even best friends. They're party pals, if you will. If they were even that, I'm even starting to believe they weren't even close like that. I homeschooled my children. Now, Kylie was apparently homeschooled at some point, then went to some art school, which I thought was private. I guess it's not. I guess it's public. But I know, like, for myself, homeschooling my children. All right, you're real. Let's see, I'll put you on.
What's going on?
Welcome, FC Frog.
How you doing?
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me at all?
You just got to unmute yourself.
Oh, I should be unmuted. You can't hear me?
Can't hear you, no.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, wait. Try again. Hop on again. And I'll put you back in. I think it was me. I think I had you muted. There we go. Let's see.
Can you hear me now?
Got you. It was me. It was my end. I had you muted.
That's all good. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of panels and stuff lately. I've been on Zab Girls. I've been on Perplex a lot, and Dolly. Oh, they're all awesome. Everybody's. I mean, even like how crazy Ryan is. Let's be real. I'm real about this. Is that Ryan's crazy on his theories, but in general discussion, he's correct. There is something way more to this than we all know, and that's what I got to give to him. He's just throwing out shit that's But I don't hate anybody's opinion, and I love hear everybody's.
It's America. Opinion. We're allowed to have one. My husband fought for this country to have our opinions, so people got to stop being marshmallows. You know what I mean? Just
they get mad.
So hurt.
they get mad at Ryan, but then they say he's using it for clickbait, but then they use his name for clickbait. Like, you're doing the same thing, man. Like, it's all good. Do your thing. Like, we're all here.
I agree on that big time. Like, and I don't think he's that crazy. There are things, there's been false flags put out there in front of the public, and people, you know, a lot of people, and it's sad, need things spoon fed to them. You know what I mean? And they can't look beyond that. They can't look through their peripheral. It's straightforward. I just got to believe what I'm told, right? Yeah. So I don't, there are questions. He's brought up some legitimate points that I'm like, that's why I said, I'm like, one day I feel like this, the next day I feel like this. I just watched a live that he did, I guess yesterday. And I'm like, man, there's questions. I have questions. It makes me like, how do they find this laptop in there, in this water? What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's weird. Why could they see the laptop and shit on the floor from the shore, but you couldn't see that car? There's a lot of, but see, did you hear the theory that there's a big theory going around? It's not a theory. This is a rumor in town. Because I'm from California, but I lived in last year. I lived in Reno. I lived right outside of Truckee. I lived everywhere in the Sierras. But then I just moved to Southern California this year, and what I was hearing from my buddy who lives there still is that, I mean, everything right now is hearsay again. This is just, but if we take into fact that the LE does have video of that tow truck driver, they do have the video. So there's something on video there. If that was her car the next day, there is a report, Caltrans worker in the I can't think of the city's exact name. It's right outside. It starts with an L. Right outside of it on the 395 Hallelujah Junction, there was a car that matched the silver SUV of Kylie's from Sunday to Tuesday in a field off the road, 100 to 200 yards off the road, down in embankments, just parked, which is normal for the Sierras. I live there. A lot of cars get stolen to get dumped into the mountains, and the police will not respond to it, as they didn't respond to the laptop last night because it's not a high priority crime. If you go to Reno right now, there's over 1,000. If you drive around the outskirts, there's 1,000 cars you can see at least in the hills, in the mountains, that are just sitting, burnt, not touched. They're stolen. The cars, the cops, they know it, and they're not gonna. It's not worth their time to get a tow truck to get out there to go do the work. It's just not worth it. There's more important things. It's understandable. So my concept is, if this is real, and they drew maps of how they would do it, take the back streets, the back roads on the riverbanks. If that was her car that the Caltrans, and it's already been reported to the police that she's seen, then it makes sense that this is all the car was seen on Saturday. It makes sense the car was hidden until the lake was searched. You know what I'm saying? But it's just hard for me to say the kids will drive it all the way back, be that, but at 3 a.m. through the dirt roads, no one's seeing you. Let's be real. That's a rented area.
Right. I live in Massachusetts now, but I also used to live in New Hampshire, literally in the White Mountains, in the valley of the White Mountains. That terrain in what is it, Placer County? Yeah. That terrain reminds me of that, except it's much more wooded in New Hampshire. I feel like there's more woods, more trees.
Well, yeah, there's so many vacationers go to Truckee and Tahoe area, which King Beach is only 20 minutes away. We got to remember, they can take the back roads of King Beach, and a lot of people do that, and they go fishing on the sides. So those roads become dirt roads, but they become tolerable. You know what I'm saying? You can drive them, and I guess there's no reason those kids that do it all the time, that live on the outdoors, couldn't drive those roads and hide that car there. No.
So I got a question for you. Since you're from that area, when she went missing, that would be a high tourist season, right? Because
right now, that I would say, like me personally, they asked me this on Zabs. I'd say 50-50 on a normal day in the winter, because the winter they like the snow. People rent houses, and people even leave their houses and rent their houses out in Airbnb and rent somewhere else because it's so expensive. It's cheaper for them to rent another house and make money. So I believe it was 60-40, at least in vacation. Summertime, you go to Kings Beach, which is 20 minutes up. It's packed. The campground's packed. Everything's going to be packed. I believe that there was a lot of tourists there, and I believe there was more tourists than actual residents coming through in and out of that city. I mean, not just staying in Truckee, but if you count North Lake Tahoe, which is 20 to 30 minutes away, Incline Village has its casinos. It's about 20 minutes away. I mean, I could see, the campgrounds will probably pack full with fishing and swimming and boating. A lot of people get married. It's summertime. It's beautiful out there, 80 degrees,
right. Right. So that's what I was thinking. Because I don't believe that car was in the water.
No, it was.
There's no way. When you look at the drone footage, I know people say, "Oh, we saw the car." I looked over that drone footage. I couldn't see the car, and that water is crystal clear. It's not a high vegetation. It's a reservoir.
It's
All
crystal.
its inlets are dried up right now.
There's nobody who lives there, like in the area that's gonna dump shit in there. It's melted off the top of the mountains, which is completely clean. That water you can see. Look, I go there and I go to. There's another one called about 30 minutes up. It's called Zephyr Cove, about 30 minutes away. Another one just like that. It's party central. I'm talking all night when I went to Zephyr Cove. And you're gonna tell me it's nothing different at Prosser? It's the same shit. People that can't afford, they don't want to gamble in Tahoe, they'll go to trucking, stay there instead of staying in Tahoe in a casino. You know what I'm saying? That's how you do it. You're in the middle of Reno and Tahoe, where you can split out to a V and go to both cities. And that's your major components right there is Reno and Tahoe. If you're gonna go fishing, you're in Truckee. If you're gonna go camping, you're in Truckee. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So what do you think about this? So obviously you agree that car wasn't there when the police went and searched it, right? And then AWP comes in, they find the car. A lot of people have a problem with that car getting in there in between that time frame. I don't. I know what areas look like that. My father also owned a tow truck company there, so he's since passed away, actually passed away on the side of the road picking up a car. And it would be nothing, especially anybody who knows the area, to get there in the middle of the night and put that car in the water.
Oh, I have still images I can email you with the exact route they took from this lady. It's not from me. This is from the Couch House lady. She said she pinpointed the car, and she pinpointed within a quarter mile where she seen it. She couldn't say exactly, but she said also when she reported to police that not one of them said that they stickered the car and towed it. So the car moved on its own after being there for 4 days. They waited. I believe that when you don't have manpower as Truckee has, and even Nevada County has. Nevada, remember, you go on like Elko or Nye County or whatever. That county is as big as like half of California. Not that big, but a quarter of California, because they only have so many counties. They don't got that many officers that put into there, and especially the first week, they move out of Prosser and they go look the other lake. Now everybody's at the other lake. There's not going to be 6 officers sitting there at that scene, like a Lacey.
Well, they said they pulled out before AWP got there. So there was, and you saw people go in. There was like a private investigator guy. People were just going in and look like somebody like you or I, going in looking, and nobody was stopping them. There were no stop points. There were no checkpoints. You could just go. People were still camping, boating.
I believe they cleared that lake. They cleared that lake already. That's why. And people are calling. Oh shit! Hold on. Oh, my bad. People are calling them. People are calling them like dumb as shit. I think they know who killed her already. The reason why they didn't go get the laptop was because it's already a done case. They're finishing up on this. I think they're really close. And they look, if they were scared about,
they're gonna say somebody killed her or it was an accident.
Somebody killed her. If they were scared about AWP releasing information, they would have told them do not release that video. And AWP would have respected the police department. They do. So I think the police department gave AWP an outline how far they can go on their video, and that's why he goes, I can't go no farther. But if I release what I think, it's a bombshell. That's what he said. So, and he said the people that murdered her will be arrested if they go that route. Why would he say if they go that route? Because he goes, maybe the cops are trying to throw it under the bus. But he said for the people that murdered her in that video.
I don't think if they can throw it under the bus.
No, I don't think they can either. But I think
lose their mind
as an accident. That's the best they can do. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think they will. There's not. You got to remember, these guys aren't big enough. These kids, his dad's the sheriff. We live in a day in 2022. They could have did that in the 90s. In the early 2000s, but now if they catch on to that, everybody's going to jail. The people out here look for people like that cop to get in trouble, to catch up for doing shit like this. There's no way you can do it. We live in a day that everybody has cameras. Everybody is the only way they knew to go around the outsides is they live in that city their whole life, and they could take that road, and they know how to get to Reno by taking the back roads. I don't even know how to do it because I only lived there 3 years. That route they showed me on those papers, I was like, fuck that. I'm not doing that. I've seen it, but I'm not taking that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and they know it like the back of their hand. So, I mean, they live there. They know those roads. I also grew up in Exeter, Rhode Island, which in a log cabin. I mean, I lived out in the sticks. I knew every little path, every little side road to avoid. I mean, we partied. That's what we did. We partied in the woods. It's what we did. Oh, I lost you. I'll wait for you. See if you pop back on.
There we go.
Yeah, lost you. So that's what we did. We had a place we went to called Purgatory Point. And I mean, there would be a good two 200, 250 of us. You know, we had one high school. You know what I mean? We all just hung together. And again, also with younger and older people between 14 and 18 or even older people. So that's not uncommon either.
Oh
Although,
no, they were saying that's weird that she let a 16-year-old hang out with an 18-year-old. And I was telling people in the chat the other day, I said that's a sophomore and a senior. That's normal.
yep. I actually graduated the same age as Kylie. So that's not, I'm like, yeah, all my friends were older. I was moved up grades and
I hung out with this kid named Jose, but I mean, I played baseball with him. He was my age, but his brothers were 6 and 7 years older, and I hung out with them. You know what I'm saying? And my whole life, even later on, it's just that's how I went. But they would never leave me at a party. Never. I was the one that get put plastered and be the one like this, you know, passed out. I was passed out in the club, and they'd carry me to the car every time. They would never leave me.
absolutely.
No, I'm talking about. I would sit there and talk shit. Fuck you, fucker. You ain't taking me nowhere. I'm drunk. You know, and they put me on their shoulder and carry me to the car. That's how it went every time. So I don't understand. Like, it just everything doesn't add up. Sammy's her timeline don't add up. She said a couple times in the video she got slipping. She said, when we were friends, I never noticed the stuff on her car. When we were friends,
I heard that too.
I never noticed the sticker. But when did you notice the sticker? When you were putting her in the back of the car? When did you know the hubcaps when you're sitting there tripping? How do you remember every second if you were drinking that night?
Now, what about the hubcaps? Say again. I'm not sure about the hubcaps.
How would she remember every the whole timeline the next day when she did that interview on YouTube? She remembered every time. If you were drinking the whole night, even if you have it on your phone, you looked at it, you would still have to go back and look again because you won't remember everything that happened that night exactly to the T. This story was written out before she went on TV. I mean, on the camera.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And she had tells like, you know, we drank out of the same drink. I mean, what is that? I mean, because it was unsolicited. It was a question wasn't asked about it. I think you're talking about that first. I forget what something American. That interview he did. I don't.
Yeah, Ricky Dreves or whatever that is.
Yeah, and it was like we drank out of the same drink, but it was an unsolicited comment. Like, who cares? I would never think to say that. My friend's missing. Who cares?
She kept throwing shit out there like that, and then she told all the parents not to search for her. Why did you send people search people that showed up for the search team? Why'd you send them home? If someone's missing, when they got there and they had everybody there, she goes, no parents, no adults are allowed to search, only kids. We are going to meet over here. And if you're a part of the main group, you go in this van. Everybody else goes in this van. They had 2 vans. So they didn't allow any of the other kids come in the group. They didn't allow no parents to search for Kylie. She told everybody that law enforcement gave her the all right to tell them to stay home. If somebody's missing at 16 years old, you're gonna turn down people that are gonna help.
Well, listen, if I'm mom or dad, I'm taking that microphone from that kid, beating her over the head with it, and said, "Everybody, go look for my child." I have 6 children, and they're young adults now. But I don't care.
If I'm the mom, I pick and choose what's going on here. If you don't like it, get the out of here. You know what I'm saying? And look, she incriminated herself day one. She said, I gave her alcohol. She's an adult. Right there, she's already admitted to a crime. Yeah. That's what fired up. And then there's all the pictures of the bar. It's her Venmo. 100% now. They have the same sign at every park.
That's contributing to the delinquents of a minor.
And if she ended up driving in, that'd be negligent homicide for selling the alcohol. So that's where it comes weird. But the police said, listen to here. This is where I get to Ryan's fucking being smart. What did the police offer to all the kids if they came and talked to them? Immunity for alcohol and drugs. So she sold all the alcohol. She has immunity on that. She went and talked to them. She signed paperwork. They can't charge her. Now this will be an accident. And the kids being kids.
Yeah, see, I think Ryan's onto some things. It's just weird things.
That's where I give Ryan respect, because think about it that way. They offered immunity day one without even trying to see if it was a murder or not. We'll give you immunity. Just come talk to us for alcohol. What if the alcohol killed her? What if the drugs killed her and they made her take them? What if they
flipped her something? I was thinking about that.
There's a drink on the bar list with Sammy's Venmo. It says what it says, Satan's sanctuary drink. If you drink it all, you don't have to pay for it. If not, you have to pay $4.
I saw that, but I didn't know. I didn't know. I thought it was
on fire. They're lighting the alcohol on fire and drinking it. That's what that is. So if you finish the whole Everclear, those were bottles of Everclear, 90% alcohol or whatever, on the thing. They light it on fire, and now it's a Satan's sanctuary because it's on fire. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, that's weird. That's creepy.
Hey, it could have been she spilled the drink on her and just fucking engulfed her in flames. You know what I'm saying?
I think that if that were the case, I think that AWP would say, I don't know, maybe they can't, but I mean, she was recognizable. I mean, I just heard this thing that
AWP didn't identify her. Let's remember that. He said, it's not confirmed. It's her. So there's something that.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, underwater. When he came up, he said it's not confirmed. It's her. But maybe the police said he can't confirm unless it's 100%. You know what I'm saying? There's certain things you can say on camera. They had to give that video to the police before they released it. I know that for a fact. I've heard that. I've heard that from Doug, and I've heard that from the other dude, the bald-headed dude, the owner. I've heard both of them.
Jared
over the video before they released it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just blown away. I mean, first of all, they didn't find the car. I don't think the car was there. I'll give the police that I don't think the car was there.
They're not that dumb. Come on now.
But to leave behind because it's open and it is active, and just out of respect for this family, why don't you cover these windows before you know you're going to roll it? You're going to flip it underwater, right? And then tow it. Shit's going to fall out. It's called gravity. You know what I'm saying? How they didn't do that. I know that Doug had said on a panel that they wouldn't have, AWP would have not have done that way. The way
they wrapped it. They pulled it out before. They've done it before. Law enforcement gave them the right to do it before, they said, and they pulled it out and they wrapped it. But my thing is, what if they already know who did it and they're just seeing if they're going to go back and try to get evidence? They're just watching them. What if they knew the car was in there? That could be a highly possibility. And there was no rush of getting her out other than a funeral. I mean, because you got to think.
And they wait for AWP because they told them not to search Prosser Lake. They said, you don't have to search that. That's what they told the AWP. Oh, we already searched that. You're fine. You don't have to look at Prosser Lake, right?
Either she was already there and they knew it and they were trying to watch the kids and see, because usually in a murder, if they know who did it and he's not a threat to society, they don't arrest them right away. Usually they build their case, build it, and then get them. You know what I'm saying? Look at Scott Peterson.
Sure.
Scott Peterson didn't get arrested the first month when he killed Lacey. It took a month to arrest him. He kept running around. They were watching his movements, and then they had the whole timeline. You know,
let him do interviews and let him leak truths and
let him change it times because they have everything written down. She said so far. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, when have you ever seen law enforcement let a 16 or 18-year-old girl that's involved in the case run the press conference?
That was so weird. That's one of the things I've written down. Why in the hell are the police allowing this girl to run up to microphones and say, "Don't talk to the police. Come talk to." What? I've never seen anything like that.
Unless they were already looking at her, and they're still looking at her, and she's just right in her bed. I mean, think about it. They're saying she hired an attorney. It makes sense.
She said that. She said it, right?
Yeah, but it makes sense because everybody's looking at her. Shit. Jagger's not. You didn't see Jagger hire an attorney?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think even with the other roadside guy, I don't think it was that kid.
No, it wasn't Jagger. It was the other dude. It was that dude, Nate. Nate was at the party. There's a picture of his orange hair with a black hat on. Same thing with the white writing on it. The same exact outfit.
Yeah, I mean, that's where they're from. These young guys, like that skater kind of look. You know, I was like, this kid. I don't think that. I mean, does he say the right things? Probably not. He looks like an awkward 18-year-old. I have them. I mean, I have boys. I have 2 girls, and and all the rest of the boys, and they're just awkward at that age. I don't think he has anything to hide. I don't think
so. I don't think he was there. I think every girl that was there knows what happened. Even the girl that was there when they were looking. I don't know, but he's on with that 17 shit too, though. He could have known what was going to happen, but had nothing to do with it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, a fate can just happen. I believe in that. I believe that things just spiritually happen. That just happen. Yet, you hear like mother's intuition. Does that mean a mother has a dream and sees their child be hurt? That doesn't mean the mother had anything to do with it. It's an intuition. It's a spiritual thing. But
I felt like Final Destination kind of thing. When it's going to happen, it's going to happen. There's no changing it. Everything's a split second. If you weren't there 1 second earlier, you would have died in a car accident. You know what I'm saying? Think about it like that. Everything's meant to be at that time. When it's time, it's time. There's no changing it. You know what I'm saying? History repeats itself 100,000 times, and
Well, that's right.
I believe the same.
Sure.
I believe in a certain time, there's no changing it. Like it's destined. It's already written. You know what I'm saying? Your day's gonna come, and it's. I think if it was an accident though, the LE would have already released to get all this fucking people off these kids back. You know,
Yeah.
I really.
If they come out and say this is an accident, I'm done. I'm gonna lose my mind because it's so not. It's so not. There's too many. I don't believe in coincidence like that. There's just too many problems here, and I don't see how they could. I mean, just wish he was found in the car. You know, I have a Rogue. It's very similar to her car. Mine's a little bit bigger, but I'm like thinking this car's upside down. I got to get out. I have windows literally open. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm going out the window, right? This girl I don't think was alive when she went in that water.
Then their strap was hanging out the backside. It's just too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to tell me all these things were. I think they seeing that she was in the back, they could have easily used that strap to strap her arms in, and then it wouldn't hold because she was dead. It was floppy. You know what I'm saying? So they put it through the back and they closed it in the back door to hold her in. That's simple as hell. You know? And they could have used that tow truck driver for fingerprints, and hopefully they found that car in that field, and they didn't. And then they started tripping, like, let's move back in the water.
Yeah. So when I watched Ryan's thing, because again, I said earlier, my father owned a tow truck company. So I remember everybody was like, it's AAA, it's this, it's that. So there's where we lived in New Hampshire, there was no AAA like lot. They got subbed out. You're way out in the middle of nowhere. There wasn't even a traffic light in my town. There wasn't one. You just stop here if you want to. Right? You know what I mean? So Ryan had brought up some issues with that guy, and I was like, because at first I'm like, yeah, you know, but that guy kind of hunted. It felt. Now I'm looking back and I'm like, did he hunt AWP down to start talking?
Maybe
I'm like, isn't it a coincidence?
It could have been him. It could have been him, and someone seen her with the girl, and he started thinking, "Oh fuck, they're gonna know." So I'm gonna go say, you know, I'm gonna go give up my fucking alibi. I don't know, but if he did have film, like he says, then that can only exonerate him and make this shit a lot easier. You know what I'm saying?
He's friends with one of these people and is trying to help. I remember when I saw AW for the first time. I saw AWP's video. I'm like, wow, isn't that something that you know? They're running. Here's AWP turning into Best Buy, and this guy just happens. Whoa, there's AWP. I'm a long-time follower, and I seen what possibly could have been Kylie. Definitely her car, he said. You know what I mean? I don't think he's 100% said who the people are, but he said the car definitely was her car.
Yeah, because it came back to license plate. He called it in. It came back to hers. But he could be doing all. He could have did all that and called the license plate in and reported it to his company to cover his ass too. He would have had. He would have had. Think about it. He would have had opportunity to grab her ID. He could have did it the night before and stored the car there at the other lake, and they came back to try to get rid of the evidence. You know what I'm saying? He would have had her ID. He would have had her card. He would have had her purse. I mean, it's just a plausible example.
I was 100% on this the roadside assistant guy's side until I listened to Ryan's thing this morning, and I'm like, wait a minute, I don't like being duped. So I'm like, what if maybe he was even at this party? We don't know because somebody's just moving their mouth, right? So
that's a major opportunity, you know. But with the Sierras, you got to think that there's a 30-mile span where you have no help, so that there's probably a couple AAA people there. There's probably a few of them because when you go through the mountains from Truckee, from actually before Truckee, it's called near Donner Pass to all the way to Reno. There's no help. There's no pullovers. You know.
Now, was this like? So I've heard different things about this company. So the last thing I heard, this is like a free to the public company that if you're broke down, they'll send out assistance. It's run by the state of California. Is that true?
Yeah, it's a third party company that they do that. There's plenty of those here. There's a lot of them, and they're both required to have video and recording though.
Right. So what if tow truck guy says, call this number, say that you're broken down on, because it's not confirmed. He couldn't confirm who called in, right? Who made the initial call to that company, to the the towing place, or the roadside assistance. He said, I can't tell you. I don't know who made the call. But then he goes and shows up. What if if he was there, if he's involved in any way, he says, call this and say, the car's broke down. It removes Kylie from that party. Do you know what I'm saying? It removes her from the people surrounding that party if she's seen the next day.
Alibi, she was seen after they were gone. This is where I was seeing her. And now, yeah, that's true. And he could be working with somebody 100%, especially if it's one of those guys that pull up in a silver car. But I don't think so. In that area, to be a roadside guy, I'm almost sure you have to have a company car or truck because of the fact of the snow.
Right. I believe he was in the car. Like,
no, I do.
Because he knows he's going to be there. He'll show up.
Oh, yeah.
But story.
My thing is that car's got to have film. And maybe he's shitting now and he wants to. Maybe he was involved, but he didn't kill her. It was his plan. He was like, fuck, I want to get out of this. Because they said that there's a story behind all this that'll blow all our minds.
Something's not right. Something doesn't make sense. And
like you got Sammy like this. Look, this was Sammy's interview. Well, I really like to miss her, but like you're not telling me you're not on no pills right there, bro. Like, I mean, I'm an active.
The other girl, you can see. Listen, I have a brother that was hooked. He started on pills, then got hooked on heroin. When I look at that other young lady, I'm not going to say her name because I'm not trying to. But if she picks her skin, that's a drug sign. That's a sign of drugs.
The letter starts with this. The letter is this letter right here. Are you talking about this girl? The M?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, 100%. No, they're all on it. And the thing is, I was in the stream last night, and they wanted me to explain. I said, they argued with me. I said, they're not taking Percocets. They are taking Percocet 30 milligram pills. This is what they're taking.
Or doing something that's cheaper, which begins with an H. Sounds like a burn, kind of.
That's the thing. That they make the pills with fentanyl. So instead of costing $30 a pill, now they're costing $10 a pill. And these kids think they're getting deals, but they're getting fentanyl. They're getting heroin in a pill, or even worse.
Fentanyl killed my brother, and he thought he was taking a Percocet, and he got fentanyl. It killed him. 27 on his birthday.
Milligrams because they cost $30. I was trying to explain that to these people. There's no 30 milligram Percocet. I said, yes, there is, because I can tell you this because my brother used to sell them, and he left them in the toilet one day, and it flooded like up top part of the toilet, and it mushed up all his pills. He went crazy because it was like $10,000 worth of pills. So I'm like, this was 10 years back.
Back in the day, it was $1 a milligram. So
that's the thing. And you used to be able to get Narcos for $4 or $5 back in the day. Now they're $10 for 10 milligram in California. Yeah. These things are so expensive. These kids will take the cheap route and buy a $5 pill. And that $5
don't have money. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, most of them are getting money from mom and dad. Oh, I'm going to the mall. Give me, and that's what they're spending it on. It's terrible.
Alcohol at that party and using that Venmo money to buy their drugs. Think about that. Sammy's sitting there selling all that alcohol for $1, but she was selling beers for $1 each. Like, how much? I mean, I guess you get a 30 pack for $20 or $18. You make $12.
Yeah, but they're not good businessmen.
No, but it was. That's
we
what
get $1 for. Back in the day, we would get a keg, and it was at least $1 for a cup, and it was a small solo cup. You weren't getting no big. They were like clear plastic cups that you get at the job lot.
Yep.
You weren't getting no big red ass solo cup.
Yeah, I don't know. They got pallets there, dude. They had a lot of shit there that was questionable. I was looking at it, and I just feel bad because, you know what? At the end of the day, people are getting blamed like Jagger and shit. The police.
No, I don't think he was. You know, he says weird things. He's young. I have like I said, I have young teenage and young adult boys, and they're awkward, and this is serious.
It's not the same.
A young lady's life is gone.
Older people look at it though, and like when I grew up, and when my dad was 30, it's different from people that are 30 today. You were older than 30. Now you're 30, you're still 20. I've realized that are not the same. It's not like when I play baseball, you look at the older people, they all had mustaches, gray hair. 30 nowadays, these guys look like they're like, I'm 31. I don't look, you know what I'm saying? And
I'm 50, so I'm almost 50 years old.
People are looking at this kid going, he's not growing up yet. Well, dude, they're not even growing until 25, 26 now. I mean, come on.
My daughter, our oldest daughter, she's 27, and just up until not that long ago, like right before the COVID, she still went to raves and stuff. So, it's not unusual.
It's changed. Times changed, and people's minds haven't changed. They still live in the 80s if they were that, in that era, and it's just a whole different era. where, you know, things are, the phones and everything made everything different, you know, and it's just,
Right. And that's what I was saying about Kylie. So I homeschooled my children for a time, and that meant I chose her friends. Like, where did these friends? I know she went to this like art school or something. I'm like, where did she meet these friends? Because these houses aren't right against each other.
oh
Out
no,
in
they're like acres apart and shit, dude. Like in the mountain here,
right.
here you
So how does she know these people? That's what I'm like.
get guys and shit. That's the thing. And you're doing piano classes, but you're hanging out with these fucking heroin and pill addicts. And,
Yeah, it's weird.
and like I told them, I said, that's how it starts. So they start with the pills and they get it's too much money and they get the heroin. I was telling the people last
That's
night,
right.
and they go 10 milligram only Percocet. I go, no, they're doing 30. They think they're doing 30.
30. Oh yeah.
They're buying fake shit. They're buying the biggest they can get, Oxys, Percocet, and they're really expensive if it's real. But these kids don't understand that they're not getting a deal for $15. They're getting ripped off. That's $1 pill they're getting for 15. $1 worth of fentanyl, and that guy's making $15 off it. You know what I'm saying? And that's where it's at. And that's why
Nobody's selling you anything legit for $1. It's $1 a milligram.
no,
Getting a real Percocet, a Perc 30 is going to go for $30.
$30 no matter what. But see that they're making fentanyl and they're telling these kids, I'll give it to you for 15, and they're thinking they're getting a deal, but really they're buying $1 worth of fentanyl in that little pill.
In a possible death sentence.
Exactly.
It killed my brother, so he thought he was taking a Percocet on his birthday. You know, so you know he wasn't a drug user at all. Like, he would drink on the weekends. He actually worked for my company with me. I didn't, I wasn't there when he did it. Well, I wouldn't have let him. I would have been like, no, and he probably knew that. And this is going back 2010. He passed away. So, oh, it's okay. Thank you. But yeah, I mean, someone gave him this pill. He thought it was told it was Percocet. It was not Percocet. It had fentanyl in it because he's an asthmatic and it slows down your breathing. It screwed with his breathing, and he died.
Yes, I went to San Francisco last year. I gave me about I don't even take Narcos. I was out there working, an electrician, and I was like, I'm gonna get a Narcos. And some guy on the street goes, I got it right now. I was walking by. I was like, let me get one. Bought it for $6. Dude, took it in 2 seconds. Like within 10 seconds, I was out. Woke up in the hospital, overdose.
Did you say you're an electrician?
Yeah, I'm a low voltage electrician in San Francisco.
My husband's a master electrician. That's so
really
weird.
I worked at San Francisco my whole life, like at Giant Stadium, Chase Stadium, where the Warriors play, everything.
Oh wow, yeah. No, he came out of the Marines and became an electrician.
That's where the money's at, man. I tell everybody, don't fuck the 4-year school. You go pay all that money. You can go get in a union.
18 months later, and listen, we all need electricity. It's never going away. Just like you need your plumbing. But he didn't want to do plumbing.
That's the thing. You want to be, hey, you want a shitty job, or
yeah, like literally, right? Yeah. I mean, when he came down this morning, and I found when I clicked on YouTube, because I don't watch regular television, and I saw that laptop was found. I was like, what? Explain this to me. Like, explain to me why this computer, because even if nothing else, out of respect, to give this laptop, maybe they can salvage it, whatever.
Why do you wait 4 hours to show up? What's really going on in Truckee right now where your police are all hung up? Get the fuck out. Don't tell me the fire's nowhere near there.
They told that young man, like, they were just disinterested, and that cop was annoyed. That sheriff, it was a sheriff, was annoyed he had to come out there because all the people that were watching his live called the department, so they got inundated by YouTube phone calls to get the police to come out.
From the inner city, 20 minutes, go on the back roads and shit, get all the way down to the campsite. That's a 40-minute there and back for him to get, you know what I'm saying, to get back to the donut shop. Think about it. And they don't look. When I was in Truckee, there was no crime. Maybe break-ins here and there at night, but I was there's a main street, right? And there's a main street that has like all these little like mom and pop like postcard shops, shit like that. And then they got these little restaurants on the corner. Then they have the Greyhound station or the bus station. That's it. That's that whole street. I'm talking about, like, they have a little wing spot.
Like your eyes, you drive through it. My
you seen it?
Mom and dad owned a farm in Lancaster, New Hampshire. Just these little, literally blink your eyes. There wasn't even a traffic light.
Yeah, then you
through it.
Get off exits and shit. They go to houses like in the city. There's no exits here. Like, you got to go in these little streets and go up these little, So no, dude. And when I was there, it was like I said, I ate the wings and I sat down in the middle of town bro, they don't even treat you right. They don't talk to their own people. So anything that happened there, they exactly know what happened, and it's beyond
And
me.
I'll tell you something else about where in Lancaster. That's why when I see it, it reminds me so much of there. They don't like outsiders. They like the tourism for the money, but
Money.
they do not like the people. They call them flatlanders. They're nothing but flatlanders. They do not like outsiders. So this attention being brought onto them, they don't like this either. They don't,
No,
regardless of a missing girl.
make the money.
Now a found
Yeah,
dead girl.
they don't want cameras in their town. They all know each other, and they make us money. Get out, get out. That's pretty much it.
That's exactly.
I went through there. I had a rough patch last year. My name's UFC. I used to work with the UFC. I used to work with all the fighters. Then I started gambling. Hell, that's why I was in that area, the casinos. And that makes all sense now. Okay, so I was going in and out of Truckee to between Tahoe and Reno. I was going to V, and I'd always end up in Truckee. And it's like I met somebody there eating one time. I was eating, having a beer. They were sitting on the edge of this on the main street, the restaurant. I remember it was like a little bar, and they owned a pool company. They only worked during the summers, so they can't work in the winters. But they made enough money in those 4 months that could cover the whole year. Put it that way. That's how expensive shit is out there. So you know what I'm saying? And I got the feeling they were cool, but they were like, it was like, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like, I bought them a beer. It was like, I'm gonna buy you a beer. Nothing. You know, they kept their little 2 seat distance. They wouldn't really keep eye contact, and I'm tatted up and stuff.
The same thing, and that's how and it's still like that to this day. If you're not, even when my mom and dad moved there, at first they weren't accepted right away. You know, the people were standoffish with them. They got to know my dad was a master mechanic, and then they had like a good mechanic in town, so that
everybody started. One guy used him. He goes,
yeah.
It went like this. Well, I know how this is because I was in I also was living in the Ozarks for a year.
Wow.
I've lived everywhere, man. I've been blessed with money and up and down. You know, I've been up and down, but I've took this time to stride and build myself because I lived in San Francisco my whole life when I was a kid, and you know, I just wanted the experience, and I got those looks in Arkansas too. I mean, in the Ozarks, I'd go to I was in Harrison, Arkansas. And it's the most racist city in the United States, supposed to be. It was all over the news. I would go to Walmart though at midnight, and I swear to God, man, this has nothing to do with this, but it's hilarious. They look at me weird, but I'll be looking around, and I smoke weed, and I'm looking around like, you ever see the movie The Bubble Boy with all the weird people? Okay, well, it's like all incest people out there. They all got like weird bodies.
It's like Deliverance. I've seen that.
You know, like they come all weird with the big heads and shit. And
Yeah.
I'm walking around Walmart, and they're all telling secrets, pointing at me. I'm all tatted up and shit. You know, walking like this. They could tell I'm off from those Ozarks. I'm looking around like, you motherfuckers don't even know, dude. Like, I'm like this. It looked like a fucking cartoon, dude. But it's another one that I was at in the Ozarks. It was way worse than Truckee, but I honestly.
I have a friend that just bought land 2 years ago out in Arkansas. He's a black guy, and this one guy was talking about like black, like something being black, and he looks at me and goes, "You do realize I'm black, right?" It was just funny. It was weird.
Normal
But
there.
he ends up being friends with the guy. He's friends with him now.
Oh, yeah. You know how it is there. It's normal for them just to have a regular. It's an average conversation. It's nothing. See, I don't like those people were raised every day like that. Try to change what you do every day, and I don't think they'd hurt somebody, but that's just the way they talk and stuff. Those kind of people, you know. And it's like even the Ozarks. They one guy was like, "You ain't from around." He was just staring at me, and like I turned around at the gas station. I'm like, "What's up, bro?" He was all tatted up. He's like he's one of the hard guys up there. I was like, "What's up, dude? You got a problem?" He goes, You ain't from out here.
Yeah,
I said,
that's what you get. That's like Lancaster. You get the same thing. Like, you're not from here, and I don't care if you're what. You can be pink. I don't care. You could be me. They're like, you're a flatlander. You're an outsider. We're not going to let you in.
You know? Yeah. If they're acting like you're established there now too, not just coming through. Oh yeah, dude. I walked in one day and they had like a little dining area where they eat, and then they have the lotto tickets at gas station, like a little breakfast center right there. And all the old people just stop eating. It's like, I'm like, oh,
and they're looking at you. So that's
nothing.
And that's what I'm saying. Like that's why I was asking about the tourism. People who live there, they know each other's routines. They know their surroundings. They know that they could take this car in the middle of the night, go put it in the water after the police left, right before AWP comes. They could put that because they're also thinking that the police, that's been searched. It's not going to be looked for there.
And surprise them, and then their car never found. The other thing is that you got to remember is that the way they dress too. They know the people know who's who there. Come on, if someone's at that party, you would know. Look at me. So I was living in there. I was living in Reno, Tahoe, Kings Beach, which is 10 minutes away, for a whole year, and people knew I didn't live there. I wasn't from there. You got the beach surfer kind of, the kind of like hang loose kind of look there. You don't got the hair, the combed hair. You don't have the, you know what I'm saying? It's more of the Shaggy from Scooby Doo type shit.
You can see it from the pictures that I'm not sure were from that party that night, but from parties prior. I mean, even on their flyer for that party that Kylie was at, you can see it. You can see it's like skatish. It reminds people what my friends do it.
And what's crazy is that every house out there is worth $1 million almost because the Airbnb factor, which they can rent out 6 months. In the winter, you got the
snow. So glad you brought that up.
In
Here's
the winter,
another thing I want to question. Why? I want to just get your opinion on it. And I know people are afraid to offend people, but thicken up your skin. You're allowed to ask questions. Why do they have a GoFundMe for Kylie? This family is wealthy.
Yeah, 100% wealthy.
Why? Why?
House right now make $1 million this year just renting their house out probably.
I mean, just that they're selling their
property for $1 million, 1.5 or whatever. That'll probably go
for money. I mean, and okay, even if it is a burden, it only top dollar $15,000 for burial, and that's top dollar. Why 60 something thousand? Why? I asked that in the beginning. Why? These aren't people that are struggling to put a box of mac and cheese and a hot dog on their table.
This is why they go to the casino and they gamble and they come back home. They can make all
what it is.
There's a casino right there. That dude, that killed me. I'm telling you right now, I had everything made in my life. I had the best girl. I had a stepkid that I loved. I had all the money in the world. Like I had enough money. I moved to Vegas because I was lost it and I started gambling. I was like, I can do
travel there every year. I don't.
They live in Tahoe damn near. They live 10 minutes from a casino. I mean, what if they were in debt? You could be making all the money in the world. If you don't have money to run the business and escrow, you're screwed. You know what I'm saying?
Because where's their money going? It's off grid. So, because Kylie lived off grid, that place is off grid from what I understand. So, what are you spending money on? And you're making an income.
There's nothing. There. All you can do is go to the lake or. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing really go off roading. I mean, there's really nothing to do in the town. There's little lakes. There's casinos. That's your only options. Like I said, I was stuck out there because I was living in Reno and I was living in Sun Valley, which is all in the Sierras. And then I came back down and I got stuck in Kings Beach and I came to Truckee. And I was like, fuck, I don't want to live here. All right there. I was gonna start renting. I was on Airbnb. There's 1,000 Airbnbs, dude. Look it up from Kings Beach to Truckee is 20-mile span. There's 1,000 Airbnbs on it. Airbnbs, and they're cheap.
Wow.
You get them for like $90 a night to up to that's like a 1-bedroom in someone's house. People rent their beds out in their living room, their couches out and shit too. They make money, and because you gotta think they got the snowboarding, skiing. They got the lakes, the lake sports. They got the camping. They got everything, man. They got everything you want to do
all year round. That's like Lancaster all year. That's where all the skiing places are up north for me. So an hour and 45 minutes for me. You hit the big ski lodges here. So Same thing. They get it all year round. They get tourism all year round.
Especially Kylie's land. That's off the grid. That means that's hunting land. In the hunting season, that's money land right there, dude.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And our best friend, who's a police officer here, I'm going to talk to him. I got to show him this because I just want to get his take on, just from a police officer's perspective. And I mean, I'm in like a little podunk town. I'm about an hour from Boston. Yeah. So, a suburby. I mean, I have woods. You know what I'm saying? So. But I have neighbors too. I can see my neighbors. I mean, even here, we don't have big crime here. You know what I mean? Like somebody sold a steak out of Stop and Shop is like, oh my gosh. You know what I mean? It's a big thing.
Yeah.
We don't have big crime here. We don't have murders here. No, or killing, suicides sometimes, especially over the last few years. But we don't have big crime. I just want to get his perspective. What do you think? What do you think about all this stuff being left at the bottom of this lake?
Do you think the cops missed the car? You know what I'm saying? Do you think the car was put in after? Do you think the witnesses will be credible? Do you think the police will be sitting here not saying nothing if they're still investigating? I mean, because the kids are getting attacked It's a lot of things that are going through my mind, because I would think the police would come out and say it was an accident if it was 100% or even 90 to get rid of the kids getting attacked. If they thought it was an accident for sure, they would have said, leave the kids alone, guys. We're going to come out and say, as of now,
absolutely. Why wouldn't they? In other cases, we've seen police do that. They just put it to bed. Listen, at this point, we're leading towards this was an accident. We're not confirming it, but we're going to, there you go. There's nothing, crickets. And now that we're going to give you a date, I've never seen this date setting. November 1st, we're going to give you, what?
Maybe they give Sammy a chance to turn herself in. She got an attorney. It's all, you know, she got a date to turn herself in. They know she's not going to run. They know she's not a fucking a risk to the public. You know what I'm saying? I mean, think about it. That's a very valuable option, because they would do that. If they know who the killer is and she's willing to talk to them, then maybe they're like, okay, we're going to set this date. You have till this day to turn yourself in then and to make it right. I don't know. I mean, or
that's a good theory, actually, that here you go.
And her mom and dad are at the city, and they work as they have high-end jobs. They could talk themselves into saying, look, let us talk to our daughter.
Attorneys, right?
Her dad's attorney, right?
She said on her, where she wrote that she got a criminal defense attorney, she wrote that both her parents are attorneys, and she now has a criminal defense attorney.
Yeah, well, why would you have a criminal defense attorney if you didn't do a crime? You'd have a civil attorney suing somebody. I think she's talking.
I agree with. Listen, especially after they found this girl, the way they found this poor girl, I'm wiring up, because I don't trust. I said my best friend's a police officer. It doesn't mean I trust them. I don't. Listen, we've seen too many times where people get accused of something and they didn't do it. I mean, look at the people coming after Jagger, right?
I agree.
So, get an attorney, because it's the best way. You can still be innocent and get an attorney. But my thing.
That's what my girl said.
Say again?
The girl said the same thing. She could be innocent and just getting all the hate. But listen here. After all, they found the car. They called her back in to talk to her, maybe. And she goes, I'm not talking, and lawyered up. That could be fucking it right there, too. And they need more time. You know what I'm saying? Because they found the car now, and the car wasn't there before. We're going to call Sammy back in now, because she's been leading all this investigation. Sammy, come back in. So what happened on this date again? My mom advised me to get a lawyer. It could have been that, dude. And they can't. They don't have
took off. What else I found interesting was the police pull out of there. Sammy was still talking. AWP is coming. And next thing, when they get there, she's gone. She took off wherever she went to. I don't remember where they said she went to, but she took off out of Truckee. She was gone. Why did you leave like that? Why did you?
Irvine, right?
What's that?
She went to UC Irvine, they said, right? She went to school.
Yeah, it was something. She went somewhere.
Yeah, but still,
why are you taking off, honey? Where are you going? Why are you taking off when now the AWP is coming in? And then when AWP found her, Kylie, she said they're lying. They didn't find her.
Yeah, I know. Because
what the hell?
I don't think she thought they searched Prosser. I think that she thought they didn't go to Prosser. Because the info she got, they were going the other way.
Prosser was cleared.
Yeah, because that's what she got. What she heard was the same thing everybody else. I think the cops are playing her, dude, and told her, "Oh, he ain't gonna go to Prosser,
so.
Dude." Because why would you lawyer up at this late in the game after you already talked to the cops? They're asking.
Well, the cops should talk to national news. She was talking to, like
the police allowed it.
Some weird, unsolicited information. It's just not normal. When people are in traumatic situations, they usually don't spew out or leak unsolicited information. It's scary. You're in front of cameras. This girl seems way too comfortable. Blah blah. Just this.
Well, you throw that extra lies in to cover your act to make it seem even more realistic, but you don't realize we're all looking at you like, what the fuck are you saying that for? To her, it sounds good when she's on all these pills and all this heroin and shit, whatever she's on. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to say that, but whatever she was taking or whatever she was on that day, that idea sounded good in her head. Let me add that in there. But for God's sake, how do you remember that if you're drinking? And why would you even throw that in there? Like when we were friends, I don't remember nothing on her car. Like why would you even add that in there?
Well, she's speaking past tense too. When we were right.
But why would you even say I don't remember anything on her car? But we just remember now. Just say, oh yeah, there is something on her car. It's a bull symbol. Like you getting all these attention for details. How do you have all this little? your friend's missing and you're trying to cover your ass. That's what it looks like, dude.
And smiling through the whole thing. Like you can smile and smile and still be a villain. Like what? Why I would be devastated if one of my friends was missing. I wouldn't be able to be dry-eyed and bushy-tailed having conversations with strangers on either whether it's YouTube or national news. I would be upset. I'd be crying. I mean, I did see the girl with the skin issue. I don't want to say her name, but
yeah, but she had no.
I feel like I'm picking on her, and I'm not. It's just an obvious issue that there's something going on there. But when I saw her crying, I didn't feel sadness. It looked like she was scared.
She's scared. That's my theory too. She went to the party for 10 minutes and dropped her off. She knew what was going to happen, so she ran out of there hella scared because she freaked out. She couldn't watch it. That's what I think.
Yeah,
dude.
she didn't look. I'm like, having children too, and I have 7 brothers, 3 sisters. That looked scared to me. It didn't look like sadness. It looked like fear. Like she was afraid. Her head and she was just shifty. I was like, this is weird. These kids know something. They're not kids either. They're adults. The only kid involved here is Kylie. You want to act, 18, you want to act like an adult. There's adult consequences, right? So, and they need to be held to that standard. You know what I mean?
That being nice and giving them time. Just go fucking lock them up, dude. Put them in. Make them start feeling how she feels, dude, because she ain't coming back.
No. And I mean, what if, the other thing I heard about Sammy, which bothered me, was there was a friend, I guess, from when they were much younger. And she said Sammy was very bossy, had to be her way. And then if it wasn't her way, she goes, I guess, like, let me put it this way. This was the girl. I ended up in the hospital getting stitches. So I can't validate whether that's a real friend or not. I mean, I have no way to do that. But
what about the kid that came out and said she used to like hurt animals and shit too? Her neighbor.
The girl strikes me odd. She gives me bad juju.
You hear about that though? The kid that came out and posted said I used to be Sammy's neighbor, and she used to do the same thing. She beat me up. Oh yeah, she gave him stitches. That's the one you said, right?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it was a friend.
And she did some nasty things to animals. That's just, I don't know. She has those eyes on her, but it's just who knows what happened. I mean, they're all acting.
I mean, that's narcissistic behavior starting at a young age, if so, and that's why she believes what she's saying, and she thinks we're all suckers to believe what she's saying as well. That's a sign of a narcissist. But oh man, she just gives me bad. Her leaving, that was like one of the first really huge red flags. Not just the thing she was saying when she left when AWP was coming. She was gone. She went, and I think she even deleted her social media. And she has another one now. She had deleted her social media as well. I'm like, that's weird. And then she pops back on saying the mother, which was weird, not her mom, not Kylie's mom, the mother isn't confirming AWP. This is a lie that they didn't find Kylie. I don't know. I just hope they don't come out and say this is an accident. If they come out and say it's an accident, the police are involved too.
The mother looks like she has a little drug problem too, though, to be honest.
Yeah, there's something going on there as well. And her coming out to disparage AWP, who the hell does that? Well, let me just say this. I don't care. I'll get all the hate in the world. These people took time away from their families to drive across the country to go look for your daughter, and this is what you're going to say about them? Shame on you. 100%. I understand you're hurt. I understand you lost your daughter. But at the very least, even if you feel that way, you don't go put it out on a public to disparage the people who found your daughter because she'd be still sitting in that. Well,
I agree. That's what I agree on. I don't care what they say. They have the right to, because without them, and guess what? They didn't even get the reward. So don't even come out talking shit to them. They should be talking shit to you and the people that offer that fucking reward. Period.
And they would never, because they have class. But
what I'm saying, they took it with dignity and said that we did what we had to do. Now you're mad because they're coming out with the things they did. They're showing the things they did. They have the right to that, because without them going in and doing that, this situation wouldn't even be here. So let's just
they wouldn't have the ability. I mean, I started watching them because we fish a lot, and they came up on a recommendation on YouTube, and I just clicked on it. I was like, "Oh, cool!" Because it was like I think a picture. The thumbnail was a car being pulled out of the water. They had like no subscribers, like 1,000 or whatever. I mean, but
Yeah.
and I'm like, that is so awesome. They're cleaning up the waterways because I'm big about that. I'm big about cleaning up our waters here where I live. And I was like, that's really awesome. And then they ended up finding that first body, which was inevitable, pulling out car after car. You're gonna find one. But to give them junk about monetizing their channel and taking donations. Listen, the other 23 people before Kylie don't get found. They're still sitting in water without them receiving those donations, without them receiving.
Well, the 4 guys that are out there looking for Kylie need to pay for their fucking family, need to pay the rent, need to pay. You know what I'm saying? These guys are out there. There's more than one guy doing this, and
Right.
they're all their materials cost money. Their gas costs money. Their time costs money. I mean, let's be real here. They should be getting that $60,000 to GoFundMe. You know what I'm saying? Let's be real here. They found the kid. I mean,
isn't that interesting? I thought of that too. You're asking for money. That was part of my point. You're asking for money too. I don't know what for. I guess a burial or a funeral that certainly don't cost in the $60,000. Yet you're mad at AWP because they got some gas money and they filled their air tanks to. By the way, this isn't a land search. Any water diving like that is dangerous. Anything can happen.
Oh yeah, it's the you risk your life. I mean,
Right.
What are the
Green Cape Crosser Lake isn't that dangerous. They don't have a current. They don't have. It was. I think Doug even said it's one of the easiest dives they've ever done. In finding a vehicle. However, it doesn't matter. It's still dangerous. You're underwater. We're not fish. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, yeah. Accidents happen every day, man. That fucking tank breaks, the air goes out. You never know. He gets stuck or something.
Gets caught up, whatever. It can happen. It was totally disrespectful. It made I could never. I'd be like, you deserve every dollar you get. You found my child.
Yeah, I'll be cutting everybody off that wanted to go search for Reno shit. It makes sense. Everybody wanted to go look in Reno when the last spot was in Prosser. That just doesn't make sense. But I'm gonna go. I'm gonna bathroom real quick. I'll come back on if you're still live. I'll come back in.
Yeah. Yep. I'm actually gonna pause for a second. I'll still be here though.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So just hold on 1 second, guys. I'm gonna mute myself for 1 second. Let me unmute. Well, that was really awesome. I was really glad to talk to UFC Frog. I like his perspective. I'm interested to hear everybody's point of view because you're allowed to have one. That's what we're America. We're allowed to have our opinions. We don't need to criticize people. We don't need to be calling people crackheads because you don't like their theory. It's terrible. It's a terrible thing to say. As far as Mr. Upchurch goes, and it's okay to disagree with somebody. You don't have to be cruel and ignorant. And people like this. Oh, he said that she wasn't a real person. That's disrespectful to the mother. I would like to have seen the same level of hostility. Not hostility. That's the wrong word. Of I don't know the word I'm looking for here. The same level of concern, I guess, when AWP was disparaged, the people who found this child. That made me sick to my stomach. Like, come on now. Listen, even if you don't agree with the way they do things, filming, doing documentaries on finding these missing people, even if you don't agree, they found your child. To disparage them in a way that was done, it was gross. That it was gross. I don't know, because meanwhile, just days before AWP got there, one of my questions is why are we having a music festival while this child is still missing? If you go look at other cases, whether it be Summer Wells, we can go to what's her name? Beautiful, beautiful woman, and her husband probably. He was arrested. They've released him now. Um, Susan Morphew, you know, boots on the ground. There was no music festival. I don't understand. When they realized she wasn't coming home and that she was no longer with them, they've done vigils and that type of thing. I get it. But this girl is actively missing. I don't even think she had been missing for 2 weeks. Are you kidding me? What? Uh, you're welcome. Here, I'll put that up. You're welcome, UFC, and I was glad to listen to you. Great job. I like your perspective. I like listening to you. You had a lot to say, and you know. But anyway, like I thought that was strange. That's freaking strange behavior. The music is not calling Callie into into finding her. That's ridiculous. I didn't understand it. So to disparage AWP, and I'm sure they're very gracious men, and they and humble men, they'd probably be like oh, they have been actually, they've actually said it, you know, well, everybody deals with grief differently. No, it's weird. It doesn't make sense to me. It's not normal. Any case where they found somebody, even people, I've seen them do cases where they found people where the family wasn't so much involved, but then they come out and they're grateful. It seems like, did you not want her to be found? I don't know. Weird. It's certainly bizarre. We shouldn't be disparaging people. We shouldn't be disparaging people who have different opinions. Listen, we didn't get to this place we are in 2022 on this earth because of one person's ideas or observations. It's from many. And when you come together and you can say, and you can rule out this or add in this, we don't know until really the only people that know are the people that were involved, Kylie and God. I just hope that they don't say that this was an accident. This was not an accident. I don't know exactly all that went on, but there's some strange stuff going on around that area. You know, this no matter how you look at this, whether the police have already decided that this is foul play, well, then they certainly would want that laptop and every bit of evidence, right? Or whether they decided it was because somebody wrote this on my Twitter. I made a comment on Twitter and somebody wrote underneath that it just shows that. Let me see if we can look at it. Hold on, let me find it. Let's see. It wasn't Grizzly. It was on my comment. All right, here we go. Here we go. So let me come back and share my screen. Share screen. Share. All right, so my Twitter. So somebody had written, shows Ellie is confident this was sadly a tragic one vehicle person DUI accident. Kylie criminally chose to attempt to drive home intoxicated. There's no evidence of that. None. But since didn't harm another and is not alive to face DUI charges, Ellie hasn't the resources to expend for such a case. Who the hell wrote this? Social Truth. Yeah. That's your opinion. That's just, it's, I don't know that it's that bright. Because there's no evidence that, she was drinking. None. I mean, from my understanding, her whole reason for being allowed to go to that party because she said that she was going to be the designated driver, right? So explain it. I don't know. Explain how that. I mean, I agree with what they're saying is if they just have already decided it is an accident like that, that's why they didn't care about what fell out of that car. Because they certainly took zero care in making sure. Oops, I just dropped my. In making sure that nothing um, fell out of the windows. They did nothing. They did nothing to ensure that. When I saw that car come out, I was hoping, I hope they, while they were down there, took everything out of the car that they could, before moving it. They did nothing, and that's apparent. I don't know. There's so much to think about. Let me look at my notes again. There's just so much to think about when it comes to this. There's so many different scenarios. Um, oh, that was the other thing, too. Why were the police looking for this jewelry? Like, what was that about? Why did they want to know about this jewelry? So, back in the beginning, when they released the photo of Kylie with the bodysuit on and the pants, which is blurry as hell. You really can't even tell if that's her or not. You really can't. It's blurry. It's weird. Like she's in the middle of a stride. Like why wouldn't you? You couldn't get a better picture than that. That's what you show us. So I went on to Placer County Sheriff Department's Twitter. So somewhere in there you'll find it. It says Salty Saves. I was like, with all due respect, you keep saying that you have this evidence of she was at this party. Can you please release a picture of what this young lady was wearing? Because we got the picture from the convenience store or whatever store she was in. It actually looked like a clothing store. I don't know what it was. Whatever the store was, we have that where she's wearing a black bodysuit and some like khakis, but they're not khaki colored. They're like those style pants. Then we're told she's wearing a black hoodie. Then we're told she's wearing this Odd Future hoodie. I'm like, I literally wrote, help the public help you and release a picture from her at this party. What is the big deal? Why can't you send a picture of this party or post it? If you're worried about the other people being involved or minors having their picture, you can blur them out and leave. Show us. show us this picture. And there were crickets. No, I saw them responding to other people's stuff, but they didn't respond to that. It makes no sense. It would, you would think that they would release the picture of the last thing she was wearing, which was not the black bodysuit, whatever that we were shown. They said it was not the black sweatshirt either, that it was the Odd Future sweatshirt. They saw her in that sweatshirt at the party. They have pictures of it. Show us. I've never seen anything like it. In any other missing case, they're going to tell you to a T everything they can. The last thing that they were wearing, that person was wearing. And if they had photo evidence of it, they're showing us. We get nothing. Crickets. I don't know. Somebody explain it to me. I don't understand it. I have to get my mouse. I don't understand that. It makes no sense. And that makes me feel like the police are being shady. And why? Why are they being shady? What is going on? And I wrote that. One of my first tweets was, what the F is going on in Truckee? Something's not right. So we covered all that. Oh, the other thing is Mr. Upchurch donating that car. It's like 100,000. I don't really know what a Hellcat is, but I guess it's really nice and it's expensive and whatever, $100,000. You're gonna tell me you had a party of, I heard AWP say upwards to 400 people. Not one teenager is going to come forward and say, this is what I saw. This is what happened. Give me a break. Give me a break. I can't. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. Somebody's going to sing. $100,000. Here you go. Here you go. And I think seems to be a person of his word that he would give it. I saw him talking about Ryan, talking to Jared for AWP, saying get in touch, whatever. That I believe he's a person of his word is going to give it. Listen, it makes no sense that nobody that we know of has come forward to say anything. That makes no sense. And the lack of pictures. And, there's like, oh, this is actually a picture from that night. This is a picture from that night. Oh, this is from a different party. This is from a party in Reno. We don't know. These people could just be saying anything at this point. I know that this case doesn't make any sense. It's bizarre, to say the least. Not a single person coming forward except for Sammy, who, I don't know, I feel like she was reading off of a script. And I talked about the homeschooling. I talked about AWP. Sammy saying that AWP did not find Kylie because she didn't, and listen, publicly from the news was broadcasting that they were over at what's the other lake? The lake where her car was supposedly spotted by the roadside guy. I think she thought she was in the clear. The police checked that lake. Nobody, I don't believe the car was in there. I don't see how, there's no way that car was in there unless it's really even that shady. It's even shadier where they knew that the police know the car is in there and they ignore it. I don't know. It makes no sense. It's driving me crazy. things for me have to make sense. I was just talking to my husband about this. Like, he knows how I am. Like, I have to understand why something is. I'm not going to be spoon fed anything. It has to make sense to me. And unfortunately, we have been, I don't know, programmed in such a way that we're to be spoon fed whatever from mainstream or what somebody else believes. And and if you don't believe that way, you're to be ridiculed and ostracized, be called a crackhead. That is terrible, by the way. I mean, people that I followed in true crime calling other people a crackhead, that's terrible. That's a terrible thing to do. I don't know if that person does or doesn't, but it's just a terrible thing to say without proof. You know, people are entitled to their opinions and be nice about it. That's how you can come together to find truth, is when people talk about things. We don't have to be rude, we don't have to be mean. I don't know what happened in this case, and nobody does except for the people involved. Nobody knows 100% for certain. And there's too many strange things. Every time you think this case can't get stranger, you wake up to things like her laptop being found, the full the cord to charge it, and other things apparently that just got left behind in the water. If I was mom, I'd be less offended by AWP and a little more offended by the police department that left all your daughter's belongings at the bottom of a friggin' lake. I'd be a little more offended by that. Just saying. You know, whatever last things I could have of my child, I would want. Especially her laptop. I don't know if it's salvageable or whatever, but I would certainly want it. And not just to go, she was a drunk, like that Twitter comment said. She was a drunk driver who went in the water. Listen, she was a friggin' child. Even let's say that happened, she was 16, she was a child. She was a child. She's an adult. There are adults involved in this situation that, listen, by the way, if you break the law in this country, you're not going to, I don't care how juvenile you think you are, you're 18 or over, you are an adult in this country and you deserve due process. So if you hurt this young lady, if you contributed to the delinquency of a minor, you belong to go to friggin' jail. Okay, I have a family member who drunk drove not that long ago and is sitting in prison. But guess what? She killed somebody. Hold on one second. Okay, sorry, that was my husband. I had to take that. I'm gonna come back on later tonight. Actually, I'm gonna have my husband come on. Um, Having a military background, and his background in the military was, finding targets, finding things, and then most of the time disposing, dispatching of those said targets. But I mean, even he's like, there's just weirdness surrounding this case. There's just, I mean, imagine what if Ryan Upchurch is totally right, right? Then what? I've seen things like that, things that have happened in this country, big events that just, they're not true. They're not what has been told to us. And those are facts, 100%. I'm not allowed to talk about them on this platform, or the YT will take down this channel too. So if you're new here and you see small subs, it's because I get suppressed by YouTube, because I don't care what I say. It's America, and obviously you can say things without disagreeing with somebody, without disparaging them or making them, I don't know, I don't want to say hurtful, because people need to thicken their skin up a little bit. But for instance, Kylie's mother, who came out and said the kind of things she said about AWP, they took it like men. I mean, they took it and they were fine with it. I'm not fine with it because it was terrible. But you say things in a way she shouldn't have done that. Even if she disagreed with them, she shouldn't have done that in the way that she did. She could have said, I wish it wasn't videoed, or, but I am so grateful that they found my daughter. But no, I don't know, man. It's crazy. You know, people can say, like, oh, Mr. Upchurch, she's a conspiracy theorist. But listen, a conspiracy, they've made, I don't know if here's a little history lesson, became dirty, like a dirty word, or affiliated with crazy, um, back with JFK. So back in those days, you they have done polls on whether or not people think JFK was a lone gunman or more, if it was just Lee Harvey. And the majority of people today do not believe that Lee Harvey Oswald did it, or or he didn't do it alone, right? So, but back in the day, that's where that word conspiracy theory came from, and they made it dirty because they affiliated it with crazy. And there's a comedian that once said, "There's nothing worse." I forget his name, but there's nothing worse than being called crazy because it's dismissive. So, in other words, you're crazy and your opinion doesn't matter. And we got to be careful not to do that. Listen, the last thing the powers that be want is us as Americans, and there's other across the world, is to come together and have our own opinions outside of what they want to spoon feed us every day. So, you know, like I said, I don't know is if Mr. Church is completely right or whatever, but he's certainly entitled to his opinion. Um, there's lots of theories out there, some that I totally think are just what does that come from? But they're still entitled to them, and they're still people, and they're allowed to have those opinions. So anyway, I got some stuff to do around the house. Um, I'm gonna come back on here later. I think with my husband. I think anybody listen, he has an interesting perspective on things. Um, Thank you, UFC Frog. You are awesome. I really enjoyed talking to you. I hope to get to talk to you again. And I don't know, leave a comment below. Tell me what you think about this laptop being found. Because if mom doesn't come out irate at the police department, whatever law enforcement was on that lake that day, whichever ones, I don't, every one of them that were on, they are all responsible for that stuff being left behind at the bottom of a lake, like it didn't even matter. If she doesn't come out and disparage them the way she did AWP, I got friggin' problems with this lady. So, anyway, peace and love to you all. Stay safe, stay blessed, and we'll come back here later and with my husband, with Odie. Okay, peace out, everyone.